I'll let some folks jump on here before I start yakking up today's work here in the subterranean depths of the post-mortuary workshop, where every day is All Saints Day. Jason Wren, good to see you on here. Cy Whitmore, always a pleasure. Yes, today we are working in red light. So I've been trying to chronicle the winding down of my last orders as the official Fickle skateboards. This is yellow light right here. Doing a little bit of cleanup on a brush because I've got some orders for the Phoenix graphic. Love you, Cy. Some orders for the Phoenix graphic that are in the queue, and I'm not complaining, and I'm definitely not asking anyone to feel badly for me, and I'm not saying that I feel badly. I have felt bad, but this last batch has been a bit of a bear to get out, and here's one reason. Here's my Phoenix graphic, and the burn on this graphic, I had to it started blowing out when I was cleaning it. So the tail of the Phoenix, today I had to take photo emulsion, which is a pink liquid. It handles like a thin latex paint. Sean Tierney, good to see you. Peace be with your spirit. It hardens in UV light. So I had to actually take a brush and repair the tail of the Phoenix today with that. And so I am finishing tail graphics, and I did no black under today. I did just yellow flames. Then I'm going to do the red tail and red flames on top of the yellow. I'm going to move the registration for some effect. And I've got all the boxes made for the outgoing boards that are going out this round. Got all the extras and the goodies for each one. And I'm excited about that. I am not excited that it is like, what, the 17th? And I was supposed to be done on the 15th, but I am excited that I am pushing and still going. And I'm retreating. My board making is now family and friends and love and friendship. The cost of making a board is now representative fundamentally of just love and friendship. I am not interested in high volume makes. I'm withdrawing from career level board making into the simplicity and fun of making boards for friends. And if I revive the Fickle brand in the future, or if I do any branded work in the future, it certainly won't be with a view to intersect with the mainstream skateboarding industry. It'll just be out of love, and if that becomes a career, then I'm happy. Some would say I should have done this a long time ago. In fact, a number of people who came on my feed in the past to tell me I was blowing it. Now we're done with photo sensitivity. It's time to cure this thing, so we're going to turn on some blue light, and we're going to I'm actually going to take this and cook it now on the Blue Light Official, at Blue Light Official. This isn't blue light, it's just light that has blue in it. And so I'm gonna turn on the cooker and put this bad boy up here and let it cook for a while. And you can see the globby dark portion of the tail where I had to repair the graphic. Still gonna look like a repaired graphic. Good morning, Mike. Boy, am I excited about Mike Vieser and Mark Carroll making a graphic on a deck I made, and I want to do more of that. That's one of the reasons I'm getting out of the work of trying to mainstream. Hang on, guys. I'm gonna just really quick dip into the spray room here, and I'm gonna turn off the giant fan for a minute. I'm excited about simplifying. Working the mainstream angle really put a crimp in my sense of skateboard creativity. I think if you want to know anything about it, you could look to other people who can corroborate the effects of being involved in the skateboarding industry. The first of whom would be, I would recommend you check out Frank Purcelli, check out his work. Yeah, Frank has been in my mind a lot. In fact, I've let me be frank is like the you know, overhead title of this whole season of my life, because frankly, it was a Herculean effort to get the brand to grow to a business and career level, and then once it began to do that, to really flesh out into business and career level stuff, the thing that happened was it was largely because of these broadcasts, and these broadcasts are not these are not sales broadcasts. I do this kind of talking because I care about our culture, and I care about our freedom to be skateboarders whichever way we want to. John, I've got your deck right here. I just put level 1 on your tail graphic. You can see that I just put on the upper yellow portion of the flame. Then after that, we're doing red portions. The flame graphic is ready to go. So I guess we'll rock out a few of these without a tripod. I've got you guys in a phone case, and we'll do a few of the red portions together. Why don't we? Huh? I like the way that red light looks up there. I'm gonna turn off the red light. A dear person came in here, Ian Brown, and did my wiring all beautifully. So I have wonderful circuits in this paint room that I can really, I like it a lot. The circuitry in here is really simple and easy to work with. So I'm going to get my platen. For tails, I add a little bit of height to the bench. Oh, now we're in a happy place. Now making stuff together, this is what I want to get back to. I'm already experiencing greater happiness right now. A little bit of height to the end of the platen here. The jig. And then we start bringing some decks over. Now I've put my boxes. I've gone and put my boxes for shipping in my own way. And that's something I do a lot. Like until I settle in on some lower order numbers, I really look forward to lower numbers of orders so that I can be more joyfully focused on. Let me reposition these and get these up in the air where they belong. And these are all getting different. They're all getting different graphics. We've got at least 3 of them are getting the Phoenix graphic, and that, like I said, the Phoenix screen is in a state of deterioration. It is the quickest deteriorating screen I've ever had. It's really, it's in pretty rough shape, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Time for reds. Time for the red on the yellow. I bought a lot of ink in the past. Usually I buy ink that is in like a big tub, and I put it in a little squirt bottle. And I think that's for ketchup. Restaurant supply stores. But here's some ink that comes in a nice little squirt bottle of its own, and I think that's the bee's knees. I love that. And I've already got holes measured on my my platform here for rear trucks. The front trucks are guided with some hole markings that put them on center, And then I'm gonna just line up a little bit off where I put my yellow. I want that yellow to kind of pop to the side. And thanks, Keith. Thankfully you're encouraging me to stream. I think a lot of the small batch board makers, a lot of us we have really weird feelings about our work because we don't have enough work to be really seriously full-time skateboard makers. I did skateboard making for the last 10 years. I wasn't making skateboards in 2009, so it's not really 10 years. My math on years and stuff, don't hold me to it. Don't accuse me of lying about some date. I'm just wrong. You know, it's like if I were called to come and testify before Congress and they asked me a bunch of dates, I'm certain that later on they could indict me for lying because I would have those dates wrong. And I think if you're incorrect, it's not the same thing as lying, especially if you come out and tell everyone, hey, I'm incorrect a lot. So this board is a custom and it's wide. So it's wider than my red screen jig is. There's a little piece on the tail that's a little bit concave. And this didn't turn out terribly. I'm not upset, but I'm going to come in later and fill, maybe not. I'm tempted to fill that where it comes in. I don't know. I like the way that looks like two lobes of flame. I'm going to leave it. This is from my friend John Zander. And I'm excited about that. That's beautiful. Set it in here and let it dry. Another thing I like about this ink is it's acrylic poster ink. It's really, it's not a complex application. It's not a high-tech thing, but because I screen on raw wood, it soaks into the wood and puts the ink into the grain, which is a great feeling for me. I love when I first started, I wanted to do my graphics with India ink. I wanted to use an ink, and I may come back to that idea. I'm certain it's been done before. I'm certain that every graphic idea has been done before, and I'm putting a little work into saying that because, you know, there's a nervousness a lot of people have about originality. You may see a maker or a company come out with a graphic style that you wanted to do in the future, and now you feel like you can't do it. You know, somebody's doing cholo fades. Oh, one time someone did cholo fades, and everyone got all over them because I had been doing cholo fades for like a minute before that, and everyone got their knickers all in a bunch. Oh boy, I like the way that the yellow is popping right there with the. Isn't that nice? I just get my. You know, my last name is Ross, and I really, man, don't you like Bob Ross? I'm telling you, the guy is he still with us? He's something special, I'm telling you. Bob Ross and Fred Rogers are just something else, and I don't mind being like them. I got accused, it was a good accusation, I shouldn't say accused. I got some feedback one time from a group I'd been working with in skateboarding that they didn't like my representation of their brand because I was like Mr. Rogers, they said, and they didn't want that vibe of like kid-friendly, family-friendly vibe associated with their brand. Their brand was about weed and beer and partying, and they were like they were awesome in a lot of ways. I really loved working with them. But I always took their criticism, which was, to them, it was a pretty harsh thing to say. There you go, there's one. There we go. I think to them it was a pretty harsh criticism, like you really don't want to be the guy who gets called Mr. Rogers. But when they called me Mr. Rogers, I thought, that is awesome. Yeah, it's sad because it means I don't get to work for the skateboarding brand I was working with, and I did good work for them, and I never did them wrong. But it was cool because in your life, if you're going to get called something, I mean, there's no chance anyone's going to say, Lou, you're just like Lemmy. You know, which would be pretty cool. I like Lemmy. Didn't really like Motorhead. I like Lemmy. I like that documentary about him where you get to see this really tender guy who's involved in the Hollywood, you know, scene. I just think Hollywood is a gnarly scene. There's another one. Yeah, this one's got a little bit of an imperfection in it, and I'm leaving it. Them's the brakes. Them's the brakes. One reason I'll leave a screening imperfection is because of the world of trouble that comes when you try to fix something, and you're already like, it's already cool, it's already good enough, it's already rad. Your hands have been all over it, your heart has been involved in it, and trying to fix something, you know, there's no end to it. You know, if you start trying to fix that, you can wind up reinforcing a perfectionistic tendency that's really counterproductive to art. I'm not like an artist, you know, like in a certain way. Oh yeah, here we go. Now I like this graphic, and on this one there's a little crackle through coming from the layering of the wet yellow with the wet red. Yellow is still a little wet right there. I like that too. And these are all edge sealed and top sealed real nicely. I do the tops first so that when they're clanking together, that only the bottoms might need a touch-up sanding. And I just use one of these. I take one of my, I think this is a 240. It's a 220, used 220 disc, and a sanding sponge. I don't buy the expensive fine-grained sanding sponges. So I just wrap a cheapy sanding sponge in a piece of high-grade, and I just do like that. I let it flop up on the front for the curves and on the back for the curves. And I also do not over sand. I am not shooting for a glassy finish. I was turned off to glassy finishes really early on, coming from the 80s when decks were screened more often. Decks are still screened. I mean, there are brands out there that are really doing cool screen printing. But I was turned off by the emergence of some really, really glassy graphics in the late 80s coming out of the cartoon graphic industry that were on really garbagey wood, really bad skateboard wood. And on this one, they missed a little bit at the tip there, and that's okay with me too. It's going to be rad. So these are all going to go. This one is, by the way, getting a crawdad. I know this is a crawdad shape, Chad Crawford's shape, because it is so recognizable. You can see it better from the top when you flip it over. It's a punk point with a 9-inch popsicle tail. I do like that quite well. And a 14.75 wheelbase. Oh, boy, that's nice. Now these guys have to dry. And let's check on our Phoenix graphic that we've been repairing, but not before we clean our screen up. Look at, I'm all we, us, us. I really feel like you guys are here with me in the workshop. You know, early on, a bunch of guys used to tell me, they'd be like, Lou, why don't you shut up? Because I was writing about bullying and about culture destroying industry tactics that were really common. It is my opinion that nobody has attacked skateboarding and skateboarders more to a greater extent of damage. I'm going to just pull that back into the bottle. I just do like that and pull it back in the bottle, tamp it down, do another run, tamp it down, do another run, and that gets red paint back in the bottle off of there. And let's go check the top. I sprayed the bottom so it doesn't set in the screen. I get my screen stand, stand that up. See, it's just a little screen stand. It makes it just taller than the template, the platen, so it doesn't sit on the platen and get paint all over it. And I'm just going to run, I think I only had one line to pick up, so I used the right amount. left the right amount on there. And I'm going to throw just a little Windex on the top here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use 1 or 2 half sheets of paper towel to move that around, get the larger portion of the ink moved around so it's not setting up. Keep the Windex and the liquid ink in the screen, and then we're going to pull out the secret weapon, which is an indoor hose fixture, much like a faucet, except instead of a faucet, it's a hose. And we're going to take it over and gently, we're going to use angles to gently remove the paint from the mesh. And so we're here at the spray sink, and we're going to gently remove. I'll put you guys right here. Sorry your angle's not that great. Put this in the sink, and I'm just going to angle this down because it's a bit, you know, it's not too aggressive. My screens last for years. That's enough to clean it right there. It's clean. Give a little extra, hang the hose up. Then I knock the water off the bottom rail, and then I set this to dry. And I just set it to dry right here with the others. And a lot of times I keep the fan running to just keep a positive flow of air going through there, because I've got dehumidifier 1 there and dehumidifier 2 there with a hygrometer in that room. That room stays anywhere from 30 to 50% humidity, and I can draw that dried air through this room and keep this room under control just by turning on my big vent fan. And then I watch the hygrometer to make sure that we're not pulling moist air into the area. But before I finish that and move on to checking my graphic repair, I'm going to just final squeegee with the dirty, already has lots of red paint in it, paper towel. I'm going to take a piece of fresh paper towel, give it a dry wipe, and if there's still paint on there, I'm going to take that same dry wipe, hit it with some, you know what's in Windex? It's ammonia. Ammonia is a solvent. Solvents are things that make water wetter, or they're things that break down other things and turn them into solutions. That's what they do. They cause things to be solutions. So we want to turn that paint into a thinner solution and pull it off of that surface. And that's adequate for me. So you see there's some buildup on my squeegee. I'll let that go for a long time until the edge might be threatened by it. And then I simply take a fresh razor blade, angle it back so it doesn't cut, and I just scrape. You can even see some scrape marks. Those vertical marks are scrape marks. Just clean it off with a razor if it gets gunky. I don't over clean everything. I don't have a boss who comes by to make sure that I got everything completely clean. All right, I'm going to move my platen off the table and cap my paint, my red paint. Put the cap on it. And I'm going to move my platen off the table. And so late on my orders, I've got 2 decks that were done on Saturday but weren't done in time for the order. They're out there at the bottom of the stairs. Those are going out right away as soon as these guys get into paint. I'm taking a trip to Yon Postal Service with those, and then this is still wet. So I shot it with UV light. I'm going to keep it in UV light, and I'm going to run a fan on it. And I can't finish these graphics until I succeed in drying and curing that screen. And I didn't plan on that screen. It's the only time I've had a screen fail me because of being washed out. There are reasons why that had to do with when I burned the screen. And I have a boss in my other job. I have a cool other job. One of the things I began to do is dabble in some other work. Let's turn the lights on, guys. It's so much prettier in here when it's lit. It's one thing I really like is I got to quadruple the amount of lighting in this workshop, and boy does it ever make a huge difference. I used to come down here, and you guys are gonna sit right here on this. This is my favorite place right here, this table. This is where I do all my shapes. This is where a board gets shaped. And this table was built by me and Ian and Matt Simpson, and I love the way that they helped me build these. This one, actually, I might have built with just Matt or myself. This table hangs from the ceiling. It actually hangs from 2x4s that are lagged into the ceiling, and a sill that is lagged. Yeah, I think that Ian helped me because that's Tapconned into there. So it's Tapconned on that end into the wall, and it's hung from the ceiling on that end. I love tables where the legs do not touch the ground. Oh, this. I've got some problems in this power strip. This power strip is troubling me. It's got some sawdust in it or something. Let's hang on. There it is. Oh, but I'm going to replace that one today. Not cool, man. But nice mob of lighting, and when I need it to be really bright, I'll flip on this one. I stuck an LED up in the ceiling there, and so I've got all of that. Got that graphic curing. I would like to get those in paint, but I need to go to the post office and drop off the box that I do have ready now that I see I'm in a real delay. So I hope that when I get back, I'll be able to screen these beauties. Hope I'll be able to screen all these guys when I get back, but I fear that I'm gonna have to wait even longer. I don't know, but before I go, I can already see how I can improve the impact of this attempt to dry. I'm gonna chalk up the edge of this screen a little higher to get a little more profile for the air that comes through there. And maybe I'll push it back, reposition this. Yeah, that's okay. You do as well as you can, and then you keep doing things as well as you can until you start getting some of the things done, and they'll be done as well as you can. So this one going to the mail, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for joining me this morning in the workshop. I love the privilege to be able to do this, and I've got, let's see, I got a bunch curing now. You know, we got the beasts up and running. They're all lined up real nicely. The first pressing was awesome. Got plenty of wood curing up here. There's 9 right there, and we'll well, the best I can do it does improve. It would never improve if I didn't do it, because I was afraid I wasn't doing it well enough, which is a thing that happens a lot. There are lots of us who we become intimidated by imperfection. We become intimidated by failure. And I was going back through some of my early decks, and I had failures back then. Press misalignments. I had boards where the bottom mold and top mold were diagonal a little bit, and you got a misalignment, and it caused weird pocketing. There's another thing I got sometimes, is where the glue, before I really understood how to spread glue, I would get pocket D-lamps where I had spread too thin, or I had allowed the glue to kick before it went in there, so you get internal delaminations, and those are always, they're always disappointing. Whether they're discouraging or not has to do with attitude. I remain in the debt of all the people who've waited so long for their boards, and I also am working and doing sometimes even better than my best. I think the Almighty blesses me sometimes with success beyond my own work. So, that said, I'm also blessed with plenty of failures and setbacks. But in the words of Hansel from Zoolander, I'm here and I'm going to give it all I got. As always, I love you, Mom. What do I say? I say, hi, Mom, I love you. And I really do love my mom. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for joining me. Peace be with your spirit.